Do you have an older machine that does not have an M.2 drive? You want those blazingly fast transfer rates but don't have the system for it? Well, stick around and I'm going to show you how to get those blazing fast transfer rates in this old system of yours. This is Nick and I'm Retro to RTX. Alright guys, so this is what you're going to need. So you're going to need the PCI Express adapter. I highly recommend that you get the PCI Express 4-lane as opposed to the 1-lane, just because you're getting 4 times the bandwidth. But if it's only an option to put 1 lane in, then you just need to judge it on its merits, I guess. Also too, you're going to need 2 USB sticks, at least 16 gigabytes each. These ones here are 64 gig and a 16 gig, but that's okay. And obviously an NVMe drive. We've got a 500 gigabyte brand NVMe there, not the quickest, but it's had one floating around, so it's still good for over 2 gigabytes a second transfer rate, so that's fine. And obviously a little screwdriver so you can attach that NVMe drive to the adapter. So let's just go ahead and we'll put the drive onto the adapter. Very easy. So it's just a matter of slotting it in like you would if you was going to slot into a motherboard with an M.2 slot. So that just sits in there. A nice little screw, a bit finicky, but it's just a matter of lining it up and putting it in. Like so. Simple as that. So these are very easy to install. You just need to have a spare PCI Express 16-lane slot. So as you can see, 4 lanes. It's not going to go in the smaller PCI Express 1-lane slots. So just slot her in and push her in. Simple as that, and obviously put a screw in. So, all right guys, so what we're going to do to start off is we're going to open a web browser and we're going to download Rufus. Rufus allows us to put Windows 11 or Windows 10 onto a USB stick so we can install it. So we'll start by just typing in Rufus. Okay, and then just scroll down and selecting Rufus there. Okay, just now opening up the program and close it off now. And click the little down arrow and click download, and then so click the actual download button. And that'll allow us to download Windows 10 or Windows 11 depending on what you want. So for this example, we're going to use Windows 10. So, continue. So this is going to download the ISO file, so just save it where you want it. Now it's just a matter of waiting for it. It might take 10 minutes or so, depends on the speed of your internet connection. All right guys, so that's finished. All right, so what we need to do now is just make sure, so our USB stick, in this case it's drive D, let's make sure that's the correct one selected for you. The ISO file there's listed, that's the one we just downloaded. Standard Windows installation, Windows to go. Standard Windows installation is what we want. This here, import GPT, that's what we want selected, and UEFI. So once those are all selected, press start and just go through these. So basically I tick all these just because I don't want the whole rigmarole when I'm going through setup. So this makes setup quicker. So it keeps the same local account, keeps my regional settings, and also disables the data collection questions. But it's up to you. You can untick those. It just means that in setup you can have more questions to answer. So it's okay. And it's just a matter of waiting for that to copy to the USB. All right guys, so that's done. So what we'll do is we'll close that off. And we're going to eject that USB stick. All right, so that can be removed now. And we're going to put the other USB stick in now so we can do refind. All right, so the new USB stick is back in the computer. So just open up a web browser again. And this time we're going to type in PK2020 Duet Refind. Okay, so click on this link here. So all the links, like I said before, we're going to be in the description. So just now scroll down. Where are we? And click on that one there. And this will download to our computer. So it's just a matter of opening the file, unzip it, extract all, and click on USB setup. Okay, so once again, just make sure this here, this letter lines up with this here, which is the new volume we just put in. So click clean. And now we're going to format it. And we just need to make the drive bootable now. All right, so once all that's copied over, what we want to do is close that off. Just click on the USB drive to make sure everything's copied correctly. And so you'll see the files are all there, so that's good. All right, so we can close all that off. What we're going to do now, we're going to put the Windows 10 USB back in the computer. So let's do that now. And now we're going to restart the computer. All right, guys, so when this comes up, you've got to load the boot manager. So I can select, so on this particular system, it's F11, but it depends on your particular sort of system, so what you'll be selecting. So I know which one to select on here. It helps if you've got different brand USBs, they can pop up differently. These are the same brand. So I know which one's which on here, but you know, it does help if you're going to do this sort of thing with two USBs in the computer. So select that one there. And Windows 10 setup will start. So anyway, just while I've got you here waiting for this, just like and subscribe to the channel if you do like this sort of material. It does help support the channel and helping me grow and that sort of thing, and also helping provide content for you guys. It does take a lot of effort, as I'm sure you guys would appreciate. Also too, if you're interested in a version of this that can be used for bringing up Core 2 quads or anything, the older sort of system that has a BIOS sort of system, not a UEFI. I do struggle to say that. You know, let me know in the comments, and if there's enough support for it, I'll look at doing a video on that too. Keep in mind too that older systems are going to have older versions of PCI Express, therefore that's going to be the bottleneck for your NVMe drive. So this particular one here at the moment has a PCI Express generation 3, so the maximum we can get out of it theoretically is around 4 gig per second. It's usually less than that though, just because of the overheads and that sort of thing. So you're looking at 3.5 gigabytes per second maximum. Obviously that depends on what sort of drive you have in there too and that sort of thing. The drive that I'm using in this particular system isn't overly quick. However, it's quick compared to the SSD. So this one here caps around 2.5 gigabytes per second. But compared to the SSD, the SATA SSD, should I say, which is limited around 500 megabytes per second, it is still a substantial upgrade. So anyway, we'll get back to the video. So with Windows setup here, it's important that you select, or for me, it's important that I select US because my keyboard style is a US keyboard. Therefore, I need to have that set up so the keys work correctly. Secondly, too, I've got to change this. So I don't live in the UK. I live in Australia, so I would change that down to Australian. Obviously, change that to wherever you are in the world and what works for you. Same as the keyboard. You know, if you need to have a certain keyboard, certain country for the keyboard for it to work, then you'd need to select that. So anyway, I've selected those, so I go next. I'm going to put a Daniel product key just for now. Select whatever version of Windows that you want in there. I'm just going to go Windows 10 Home. So, and here we're going to click Custom, and these we'll delete them all. Here. Okay, so you'll see on here, the top one there, that's the SATA SSD. So I've got a 250 gigabyte SATA SSD in this machine, and the one underneath is a 500 gigabyte NVMe drive. So click on New on the NVMe, apply, and on the bottom one, click Next. And it's just a matter of waiting for the files to copy over. So I'll get back to you in a moment. Okay, guys, so we're going to do the same process again. Just press F11 on my system. It's going to load Windows Setup again. All right, so what we need to do this time is just select your keyboard. That's all you need to select. Make sure you do select the keyboard though, because you want your keys to work, because we're going to be doing a bit of typing. All right, so from here, press Shift F10, and then it'll bring up the terminal window. So from here, we want disk part. Now, list disk. So basically the disks here, disk 0, that's our SATA, SSD. Disk 1 is the NVMe drive. Disk 2 is the refined USB stick, and disk 3 is the Windows setup USB. So we want to select disk 0 because we want to select the SATA SSD. Okay, so now we're going to clean the disk. We're going to convert it to GPT. Now we've got to create our partition. So our partition where all the UEFI files are going to be sitting so they can boot. So we want to create a partition, UEFI, size equals 300 megabytes. A little bit overkill, but that's okay. Now we need to format that partition. So okay, so they'll label it and format it quickly for us. All right, so now we need to assign a letter to it. I'm just going to give the letter S, but you can choose whatever one you like, provided it's not taken. And what we need to do now is exit that. So go S should have nothing on it. And D, just to make sure D is correct, it should have UEFI on it. So that tells us that we selected the right drive. So what we need to do now is copy everything from D drive to S drive. So X copy D /star.star /H /E/. Okay, so basically what this tells us is to copy all subfolders, all system files, and all attributes that go with those. So, all right, so that's done. So all we need to do now is restart the system, but take those USB sticks out. So now it'll boot from the SATA, and it'll just go through Windows setup like usual, but without the USB sticks. So I was going to turn the machine off. So I just a matter of pressing F11 again. Okay, there's the SATA drive there. So select that and it comes up with the same menu. So we click on this one. and this will continue with Windows 10 setup. So it's just a matter of waiting for that to go through its processes. Alright guys, so I'm just going to install some drivers, and then I'm going to show you guys how you want to, if we want to get rid of that bootloader screen, how we can do that. If you don't have to follow through with this step if you want to. If you're happy with leaving it there for the default 5 seconds, then that's fine. But if you want to take that extra step, I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you how to remove the boot delay with Refind. So what we need to do is go down here, type in CMD, and it'll come up here. So you just go run as administrator, and then go yes, and there it is up on the screen there. So disk part, and we're going to go list volume. So if you see there on the top, volume 0 is the UEFI partition, which is the partition that's on the SATA SSD. So what I'm going to do then is assign letter equals, select volume 0 first off. Just getting ahead of myself there. And then we've got assign letter equals S. Okay, and then we can exit now. So we've got S drive. And there it is there. So we just need to find out where it is on the drive. So CD is change directory, and with the slash in it is always the root directory. So what we do, cd boot, and that's the file there. Okay, so notepad refind.conf. Okay, and here it brings it up here. So what we need to change, this is our delay here, so 5 seconds. So we could change that to 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second if that's where you want it. Okay, to get rid of it completely, we go -1. And all we need to do now is save. And that is done. And you can close that off now. And after we restart the system, the S drive that we just created will be gone. So we'll just restart the system, and then you can see for yourself the difference. All right, so as you notice now, it's gone. So it's up to you if you want to go ahead with that. You obviously don't have to. It just means you're always going to have that 5 second delay there. Or you could always change the delay to whatever you want it to be. So guys, that's it. Like I said before, if you like this sort of content, like and subscribe. If you do have any questions or anything like that, feel free to drop me a comment, and we can have a look at it and see if we can fix the system for you. Because let's face it, every system is a little bit different. And it may be a case of just working out what works for you. So, you could always drop a comment on your system specs and that sort of thing. The other thing I'd like to note too is that the system, the BIOS or the UEFI, needs to be set on UEFI mode, not CSM or legacy or anything like that. So if it's set on those other settings, this method is not going to work for you. You need to change it to UEFI. So that's the thing I forgot to mention earlier, but that's something that you need to set up. And the other thing too, make sure you use new USB sticks. The amount of issues I've had in the past with this, or it might be trying to copy Windows 10 or a version of Windows onto a USB stick, using an old USB stick, the issues it creates, just go and buy some new ones. They're not that expensive. You could even use 2 16GB ones, and I recommend, if you're going to use this, because you've got 2 USB sticks in the machine at the same time, buy different brands ones. I didn't think of that when I was at the shop, but you don't have to buy different brand ones. It just makes it easier to recognize which drive is what when you've got different brand ones. All right, so that's a wrap, and I'll see you in the next video. And like I said, if you've got any questions or anything, just hit down below in the comments, and I'll see if I can sort you out. All right, cheers.